Hey traders, it's Callum. If you want to pass a prop firm challenge, especially with Goat Funded Trader, this is the video you need. I'll show you the exact strategy I use to pass my 100k GFT account. No hype, no magic indicators, just a simple repeatable process that actually works. And yes, I'll show you my real results at the end. Let's get real for a second. Most traders fail their prop firm challenges because they don't have a strategy. They jump in, chase trades, hoping for the best. This is not how you pass. You need a system, a checklist that you follow every time, and this is what separates the 90% who pass from the 10% who blow up. So here is my exact trade checklist. Screenshot this or write it down so you can use this when you need it. So step 1, we identify our higher time frame trading range, which allows us to identify our premium and discount zone. Step 2, we identify our lower time frame order flow. Is it bullish or is it bearish? Step 3, we identify our hourly or 15-minute points of interest, and this is the point of interest which we will be trading away from on the lower time frame. Step 4, identify your Asia trading range, your Asia range highs and your Asia range lows, as these are key levels of time-based liquidity. Step 5, identify sweep of Asia highs or Asia lows, and ask yourself which one did it sweep first, as this will help you identify whether you will have a classical buy day or a classical sell day present, which are the two setups I'll be breaking down in this video. Step 6, identify lower time frame order flow shift which actually favors your trade idea. Step 7, identify your lower time frame execution point of interest once your lower time frame order flow shift has confirmed. Step 8, simply wait for a pullback back into your entry POI, which is where you will look to execute your entry. So let's actually break down the exact strategy which I use. I call this the power of 3. So on a classical buy day, we are actually looking at a buy example now. We have step 1 where we have the accumulation of the Asia session, where we have Asia range highs and Asia range lows being generated. We then have phase 2, which is the manipulation phase, where we see the Asia range lows being manipulated on a classical buy day. That's a key point there. On a classical buy day, we ideally like to see our Asia range lows swept first. We would then like to see a lower time frame order flow shift which favors our trade idea. We will then look for a pullback into a fair value gap or demand zone, where we will look to catch phase 3, which is the distribution. So this is why it's called the power of 3, as we have 3 phases. We have the accumulation, we have the manipulation, and we have the distribution, and that's what we are trying to catch, the distribution. So now let's go on to a real live chart example from a trade which I executed on my 100k GFT account. As you can see, I'm now on the Euro US dollar chart, where I'll be breaking down the classical buy day setup which I executed on the account to actually achieve me 3.4% to start off this challenge. So again, we're using the strategy, the power of 3, but we're going to start off using our checklist, where we will start off on the higher time frames, identify our higher time frame trading range, as you can see from this low to this high, which then allowed me to identify that the market is bullish and that we have recently tapped into the discounted levels of price, so therefore buys are more favorable. So therefore I'll be looking for a classical buy day on this setup due to this higher time frame chart. So this is where I will use the power of 3 on the lower time frames to actually confirm this setup further. So from the daily chart, I then go onto the hourly chart and actually monitor the lower time frame order flow as it says in the checklist. So as you can see, price was bearish until we finally reached this level and price started to shift bullish, as we had a bullish order flow shift on our hourly time frame here. And then we get this nice hourly break of structure where we form a higher high. We then pull back into the demand which caused this hourly break of structure on the left here, and we get a strong impulsive reaction, a bullish reaction to this zone. So therefore this further confirmed the buy ideas that I had. So now I just wanted to use the power of 3 to get a nice setup. So we now go even further onto the lower time frame, and this is now where we are using the power of 3. So as you can see here, we have the phase 1, which is the accumulation of the Asia session range. We have Asia range lows and the Asia range highs marked up. You can use indicators for this. I use specifically the Asia range by Nico 948. You can search that up on your indicator tab and it will be the first one that comes up, and this will automatically highlight the Asia range highs and Asia range lows, so you don't have to do it every time. So phase 1, we get the accumulation. So obviously we are looking for a buy setup, therefore we would like the classical buy day setup to present itself. So therefore we are ideally looking to see Asia range lows being swept before Asia range high. And as you can see in the morning, we actually got Asia range lows, the sell stop liquidity resting at Asia range lows being manipulated. So that's our phase 2 of the power of 3 happening. As you can see, we have number 2 here, and then from there we react to this demand zone which causes an impulsive move onto the upside, as you can see, giving us a 5-minute order flow shift which further confirms confirms that price is now bullish, further actually confirming the setup. And now's all we need to do is actually look for our entry point of interest. So as you can see on the 5 minute, we have multiple entry points of interest. We have multiple fair value gaps which we could use. And just a little tip, when you have multiple fair value gaps and you don't know which one to use, go up a time frame and simply refine it. So I go on to the 15 minute now, and as you can see, it's now refined it to 2 fair value gaps, and I'll just simply use the one below the second one, as obviously if it's going to fill the second one, then it should fill this first one also. So this was my entry point of interest, and it was a very nice easy refinement. And yeah, so now touching up on the checklist, our only job is to wait for price to retrace back into our entry POI, where our only job will then be to actually execute the trade. So we've just marked up our long entry here. My stop loss had a bit more breathing room below this low, and it was around a 3.4. There you go, around here. And my take profit was simply at the opposing end of the Asia range liquidity, which is the Asia range highs, which is the buy stop liquidity, which will now be acting as a magnet drawing price onto the upside. So now if we just quickly play price, you will see price retraces into that fair value gap, taps me into my trade position, and as you can see, my take profit is achieved at Asia range highs, banking me 3.4% to start this challenge. So it was an excellent way to start the challenge, starting it off with momentum, which led me on to actually pass in the end. And this was all just a very simple process which you will see happen daily using the power of 3. So we have now banked 3.4% to start the 100k challenge off using the power of 3. So we are now going to look at another setup using this strategy. It's just now we're looking at a classical sell day rather than a classical buy day. Of course, not every day is going to be a classical buy day, so therefore we must be able to adapt to when price moves short for the day. And we can do this using the power of 3 and the same checklist which we use for the classical buy day. It's just now we're looking at a classical sell day. Nothing has changed, the principles remain the same, it's just now we're looking at it basically upside down. So now let's look at the classical sell day. Again, the same principles remain. We get phase 1 where we have the accumulation of Asia range highs and Asia range lows. Now the only difference here from the classical buy day to the classical sell day is, on a classical sell day we would ideally like to see Asia range highs manipulated first, leaving Asia range lows acting as a magnet drawing price onto the downside, which will be our target for our sell entry. So once we get the accumulation, we then get the phase 2, which is the manipulation, and once we see that manipulation, we then start getting ready for our trade entry. We then see our lower time frame order flow shift confirming our trade idea, where we will then look to catch the distribution again. So the same principles apply. We are still using the power of 3 and using the exact checklist we used for the previous trade. It's just now we are looking at it from a different perspective. So I'm now going to break down a classical sell day setup which I executed on my 100k GFT account to actually pass me the challenge. As you can see, I am now on the Great British Pound Japanese Yen, and we are now going to follow the exact trade checklist which I used to execute high probability classical buy day setup. So we start off on the higher time frame, identify our higher time frame trading range. As you can see, I've identified it from this low to this high, which has then gave me my levels of premium and my levels of discount. On this day, I could clearly see price was in premium on the higher time frame, therefore I was interested in short. From the higher time frame, we now go onto the lower time frame to identify whether price is bullish or bearish on this time frame. As we can see on our lower time frame, I go into the 50 minute and I can clearly see that we are currently bearish, as price has had an order flow shift and since then has been declining onto the downside. So let's actually get into the power of 3 now. We have now marked up our 15-minute point of interest. So we actually have our Asia range highs and our Asia range lows automatically highlighted for us, as we use an indicator which does this for us, called the Asia range by Nikko 948. So if you do need to use that, make sure you do. And as you can see, we have step 1, which is the accumulation phase. We have Asia range highs and Asia range lows being generated. And as you can see on the classical sell day, we would ideally like to see the Asia range highs being manipulated first. And as you can see, we see that happen as we have Asia range highs manipulated first, leaving Asia range lows on the downside, acting as a magnet drawing price to that level of liquidity which we are looking to target. So once we've seen price mitigate the Asia range highs, that buy stop liquidity, and actually mitigate into our 15-minute supply zone, I then jumped onto my lower time frame and performed a lower time frame execution. So as you can see, as we went into the 15-minute point of interest, we was bullish on the 2-minute, and we can actually see we then turn bearish as we get this strong impulsive move onto the downside, which causes a demand failure and causes our lower time frame order flow to shift bearish, which confirmed our trade entry. I then simply marked up the lower time frame execution execution point of interest, and I simply use this demand to supply flip zone as this was the most high probability point of interest on the lower time frame at this moment. And as you can see, it's a flip zone as this was a demand zone which was then flipped into supply, as you can see, once we actually broke that level of demand. And now we are simply waiting for a retest of that demand to supply flip zone where we will then enter our trade. So if we just zoom out now so you can actually see the entry and the target, and as you can see, this is a 4.6% trade, which would be a lovely start up to our trading account on our GFT 100k account. So as you can see, as we play price, our take profit is finally smashed at Asia range lows, banking us 4.6% to start off the challenge, which was a great start to the challenge using the power of 3. Before you take any trade, go through the checklist again, because if you skip any step, you are not trading, you are gambling. This is the exact process that I use to pass my 100k GFT challenge. No shortcuts, no guessing, just a simple repeatable system that I use daily. So here's the proof. This is my real GFT dashboard for the 100k account challenge, which was passed using the power of 3. And I'll be making more videos breaking down live trades and results right here on the Goat Funded Trader YouTube channel. If you found this helpful, drop a comment of your favorite strategy or your biggest challenge. Subscribe for more real breakdowns, and check out Goat Funded Trader if you want a prop firm that actually rewards discipline and pays out fast. I'll see you guys in the next video.